you're working for the leadership.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to let you down. And I think that was when I grew, like, I understood, wow, like, that's what leadership should be. It's not about you go and do A, B, C, and D. It's like, this is what I expect. This is the standard. Now reach it. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think, look, at that point, you know, I'm a true believer that, you know, I don't know everything, and, you know, people are in their positions because they know a lot more than you do. And that's it with a lot of organizations, right? Just because you are the leader, or just because you're a manager, does not mean that you know the most about that particular activity, task, or outcome, right? So in that particular project, you were the expert, right? You were the technician in that project. So for me to come in, even though I was leading the project, for me to come in and tell you what to do is an insult, really, right? It's an insult to you and an insult to me, because, you know, I definitely did not have the qualifications that you did. So, you know, it's also understanding the people that you are working with and the types of personalities that you're working with as well. And I think that's really the most important trait of a leader. It's understanding the people that you work with, and making sure that you work with them in a style that brings out the best in them. And in your case, brother, it was literally just, you know more than me. You know how to make this project successful. This is the outcome that I need you to bring for this project to be successful. And now I'm just going to get the F out of your way.
Yeah, but I think that showed incredible EQ, and I think that's your big skill is understanding people. So, like, for me, EQ greater than IQ, man. Like, I don't know. That's how I see it.
Me too. I don't have much of an IQ. So, you know, the EQ is just what I've got to fall back on. So, yeah, I agree with you there, brother. I agree with you there.
So what are you doing right now? And do you want to share with everybody sort of where you're at, what you're doing, and a little bit about B2B social selling?
Yeah, sure. So right now, you know, I thankfully during these trying times, I have a business that's still open. You know, it's and I feel very lucky and blessed to be in that situation where you know, our agency is in the social media space. But I guess where we've decided to branch off is moving more towards the business to business side of social media, as opposed to the business to consumer. So, you know, the core difference is, you know, with business to business, you're working with people within the business, but you've got solutions, you've got products, you've got services that is designed to benefit another business or business unit, as opposed to business to consumer, like an iPhone. It's more about servicing an individual, right? So what I love about B2B is it's more about relationships. You know, business to consumer, it's you know, it's very much based on marketing, product, marketing, brand, you know, and talking about how those products and brands, you know, solve your challenges or help you achieve your goals, right? Whereas with business to business, and especially in the enterprise space where we work with the larger sort of companies, you know, people aren't going to buy your solution with a credit card on the computer, right? It takes multiple relationships. It's a longer sales cycle. You have to build trust. You have to build rapport with people, and therefore the relationships you build are more important when it comes to, you know, marketing or selling your solutions in B2B. So, you know, what we do is we tend to focus more on individual brand, personal brand, and then marketing that person as a thought leader or subject matter expert, and then connecting that person with key decision makers and influencers within the organizations that they want to influence and work with, and then building that relationship through social media channels like LinkedIn, Twitter, and engaging them, educating them through content. You know, that's where we talk about content marketing, which I know you're very, very passionate about, and something that I'm sure you're gonna bring up on this call.
I'm just trying to hold back the beast, mate. I'm just holding back the beast.
I know. Okay, like just, yeah.
I'm like leaning forward. I can't lean anymore forward.
Slow roll. I always get worried when I mention content around you. You know, you start getting very excited.
Careful,
which I love. But you know, it's that content piece that comes in, and then it's about moving that relationship offline. I feel there's so much focus on trying to generate leads and trying to generate inquiry and qualify all online, you know, all this digital, and only sort of come in right at the very end when you know they've got budget, when you know they've got a need and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I feel that has its place. Don't get me wrong. That has its place, and it is scalable. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, it misses out that relationship building side of things. You know, there's so much more long term to gain when you build the right relationships with the right type of people. And then also from a competition perspective, you know, there's been research that's been done where you know, there's been studies that show that you know, organizations will 75% of the time go with the person who gave them the most amount of value, who gave them the most amount of insight when it comes to shortlisting or buying your products and services. So, you know, if you just try and play the online game, you know, it becomes at the end of the day, it becomes a cost exercise. You know, what best price or what more can you throw in over your competitors? Yeah. But if you play that relationship game and the trust game, that helps to build more profits in yourself. Not only helps you to outdo your competitors, but also helps you to generate more opportunities and embed yourself in their organizations for the longer term.
Wow. Awesome, man. I mean, for me, understanding what you do. So right now, if a large company X contracts your services, is that primarily on setting up the relationship with the key decision maker? Or are you now also going that extra step now with the whole education of how to create the content on their end as well as your consultation, setting that
yeah.
up? Yep. Is that what you're...
Both.
Yeah. So the education
it's been both now, because we've sort of evolved. In the early days, you know, 6 years ago when I first started Social Journey, it was just about pretty much making those connections, engaging, and then setting up meetings and you know, opportunities offline, right? Getting people to events, face-to-face meetings, calls, things like that.
And to be honest with you, you were actually one of the first B2B social sellers in Australia, right? Like
100%. Yeah, definitely.
I've never heard that term before in the way in which you sell, the way in which you develop that service and that solution, especially with the rise of LinkedIn. Like with the way like LinkedIn, maybe we can get into that later. The mechanics of LinkedIn is more unique it is unique versus the other social media platforms. So
100%. Yeah, we were lucky. We were lucky to get in early, be one of the pioneers in the B2B space, because, you know, platforms like LinkedIn traditionally were only seen as